Peter Rasey here, Legacy of Expo 88 YouTube channel. And this podcast, which can be viewed very satisfactorily as a YouTube, has been recorded late November 2024, but the story starts early 2012. You're going to hear John McGregor, you're going to hear myself, you're going to hear Kat Feeney, and others as we look at the history of how this now quite exceptional sculpture called Skater Boy by Councillor Lisa Atwood has come into being at the revamped and new International Cycle Park that is to be found at the Murray Recreation Reserve. It is an exceptional story, and I really hope that you enjoy it as much as I have enjoyed participating with lots of others in saving Skater Boy. Thank you and good afternoon.
We're continuing our series, as I mentioned, on the John Underwood Human Factor series or Artbusters series, sculptures from World Expo 88. And as I mentioned too in the previous video we did in Ann Street about the Drovers, these were designed to capture a bit of the magic and whimsy, the human element of World Expo 88 to counterbalance the heavier artwork, the abstract, the sculptured works that were around the rest of the expo site. And here we are, just you can see behind me, and if you look above, we're at a work which is called The Ramp. This is actually the official commemorative souvenir book of the Human Factor series sculptures. And if we turn to page 20, I don't know how well you can see this in the screen, but here we have the work called The Ramp, and it's a ramp. It's three skateboarders doing their thing on a skateboard ramp, and but as you can see here, there's only one left. So I think time has taken its toll. We're not quite sure what has happened to the other two, which were positioned at the middle parts of the ramp. But we think that there's been some storm damage over the years. As I said, the weather has taken its toll, and now we've only got the one left at the very top. And he is very precariously balancing himself there at the top there. And the big question is, how much longer will he remain there? So there's a call out to the Lord Mayor, there's a call out to the Premier of Queensland. We really need to have this work, as well as many of the other World Expo 88 artworks, looked at and restored, and we want them restored and refurbished for next year, for the 25th anniversary.
Seen to be believed. But before we get the rest of your top 5 elements, just staying with the Artbusters statues, what can you tell me about the Sleeman Sports Complex? You've got your eyes set on a figure out there.
Well, yes, there's the Skateres out there, and about June of last year, via my local member who's Di Farmer, I wrote to the Premier asking about that particular piece because I was sort of worried about the public safety aspect of it, and just prior to the saving of the Australia signs, which went off like a rocket in social media.
Oh, yes.
It was incredible, the response to that. Absolutely amazing. One of our followers put up some pictures of that, and it reminded me that I should go back out and have a look, of which I have done so. And I'm now told by the powers that be that, yes, it does look a bit run down and a little bit at risk, but you know, they've checked it out. It appears to be safe and secure, and I'm hoping that that's the case, because it doesn't look like that to my untrained eye. But I'm not a structural engineer by any stretch of the imagination. And the Facebook experience, just going back to the saving of the Expo signs. You know, for the 2013, I tried to save those, and I had them going down to the Australian Museum. The ACT government said, no, not on Yanelli. They're going to be pollution on the foreshore of Lake Burley Griffith, out to Longreach, to the Hall of Fame, where the Queen opened the Hall of Fame the day prior to Expo. Sorry, no, our charter won't let us accept anything that's not bush related. And I was just running around in circles, and I finally thought I'd had the issue solved by having it, as a major entrance statement to the Brisbane airport. And lo and behold, things didn't quite work out. The timing wasn't quite right. And this time, thankfully for me, no intervention, no nothing. A very smart young student out at the Athena College put a Facebook page up, and it fired. Craig and Rebecca's show just took the issue, and within 24 hours, there's a home for it.
There's a home for the Caboolture, up in Caboolture.
Exactly, and I was speaking to them today, and they've solved another problem because... and we're here just prior to meeting with the Brisbane City Council on site here at the Sleeman Centre in relation to the skater. And I'm hoping that within half an hour I can come back on and let you know that the meeting was successful and that the meeting with the councils and Stadiums Queensland have just finished, and we're making progress. General consensus is that the steel and the sea is not too bad. General consensus is that yes, it can be removed with a little bit of work. General consensus is that it is a worthwhile project, subject to budget consideration. So it moves forward. So out of that snippet, you'll see that the skater is now not on the big sea. And that's another save for the history of Brisbane, and it's probably going to be restored and go back in not that far from here. Still in a bit of a state of flux at the moment, but that looks very, very promising. Now, the real purpose of this afternoon is to do the measurements of the big sea here for the Caboolture Historical Village so that they can then move on to their part of the bargain to come out, save this, have it painted up, thanks to Ken Doan, in Ken Doan type colours and theme, and then have it go on display, hopefully for the first anniversary of the sign unveiling, funds and money dependent, very much dependent in actual fact. So, and with that summary, hopefully that is good enough for your purposes, Greg. I wish you all the best as you tackle the thought process on how best to save and transport the giant sea from Chandler up to Caboolture. Thanks and good afternoon.
Peter Rasey here from Foundation Expo 88 YouTube channel, and we're out at Chalkos Foundry, and we're going to see the pouring of some of the bodies of the Artbuster pieces that are going back into the streets and the parks of Brisbane for the 30th anniversary. Should be an exciting morning. Thank you. This furnace is melting the aluminium that's going into the body, and I can tell you it is hot. Absolutely hot, as you can tell by the flames. This furnace is melting, and what we have sitting on top of the kiln here is the bodies of the Artbuster pieces that have been used to prepare and make the moulds that are the basis of this morning's pour. Project, Skater Boy, really well saved. Now this is interesting, I've never seen this before. In the water tank are the actual moulds, the wax moulds. A stage of the process I've never actually seen before. Goes on the wax cast, and what we're looking at here is the skater, and you can see there are funnels where the molten metal gets poured in. So you can see here the funnel and the way that the arms come down here into the body of the shell, which is just here, and just a really fascinating process. I really do love this part of the process where the bronze is being melted down, ready to be poured into the mould. see in the background is the giant sea, which is still at the Sleeman Centre. That was the residual prop that the 3 Artbusters skater series was originally on. And anyone who's been following the series knows that the 2 of the lower ones disappeared some time ago. And in the 2018 year, we tried desperately to save the top skater. And 2019, we've managed to achieve that. It should be going up at the Murray Recreation Reserve within a matter of weeks. Actually, we're sitting here just at the end of May. So just have a look at these 2 photos. This is our effort or attempt on Friday. Failed, big fail. So this YouTube just going to document the removing of this little sucker here, and hopefully going off to a new life at the Caboolture Historical Village. And with Ken Doan's help, it will be another great attraction and tribute to the memory of Expo 88. Thank you.
Feel of the work.
It's a little bit like archaeology, this sort of work. You've got to keep prodding and prodding until you can work out what the devil you're trying to do. And in this case, we're trying to find the steel supports, which way they go. But that's now been discovered, so it should be a lot of hard work still, but much clearer direction of what's required to be done. See, there is a bolt. So there appears to be a channel that the big C's welded onto, and then it's been bolted down to the footing, and that is just like a hallelujah moment. And this is an appropriate time for a big shout out to Stadiums Queensland, part of the Queensland State Government, because without their cooperation we wouldn't be able to be at this particular time saving the Big C. A part of Expo 88, wouldn't make any claim at all that it's historic, but in its new guise at the Caboolture Historical Village, with the help of Ken Doan, it will become historic. So again, a big shout out, thank you so much Stadiums Queensland.
The Big C's been kept. Really a great result from this morning's work.
It's going to be an amazing sculpture, really going to attract attention. 30,000 cars a day go past this location, I'm told. Certainly from the noise, it feels like 30,000 cars a day, I can tell you that. They've just glued the some of the holes up there, and they're now lowering it back down.
Here's our bolts with the top one, mate. Just clamps.
So it's rapidly coming together now. The plastic wrap off that stopped it from being marked as it was lifted and transported here.
End of the day.
Don't worry about it bleeding, but yeah.
So is that it?
That's it.
That's it?
Yep. Thank you.
Lovely challenge. That was awesome.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast, which is a retelling and a repackaging of the key points on the way for Skater Boy to become an iconic piece of the landscape of Brisbane parks. And in closing, can I say that yes, there were many more interesting tidbits of gossip that made up the moving and the saving of Skater Boy from Stadiums Queensland site at the Sleeman Centre. However, I will keep all those to myself, I think. And lastly, just a very sincere thank you to Steve Minikin as local member who helped, the then local councillor Adrian Schrinner, the incoming local councillor Ryan Murphy, but more importantly Lisa Atwood, the local councillor for Doughboy, who really did take on and show a great love for Skater Boy.